Hey everyone, Daniel and Eric here at Star Wars Celebration. Now, Disney has been a really positive influence on Star Wars. We're getting new films, spin-off films, new animated series. One of the slight negatives was how Clone Wars prematurely ended.
Yeah.
And you've been finding out how that might have ended.
Yeah, you know, there's been a couple of big Clone Wars things here. I mean, I will say, at least to their credit, they're not burying that it existed. And so there was a screening just now. It just came out of a 4-episode arc, kind of like the one they released online a few months ago.
Yep.
Completely unfinished. No one's mouse were moving. This was early
It's
animation.
like an animatic story, like a kind of storyboard manipulated.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you had to go with that, but final voice acting. And this was the Bad Batch arc. It was about the clone troopers who kind of come out wrong and get turned into almost like a super soldier, Dirty Dozen meets G.I. Joe type squad. And it was a lot of fun. And I think even without the finished animation, you kind of still went with it, you know?
Did they say anything about how people who are not here at Celebration will go about seeing that?
It did come up, and people were like, are you going to put this on StarWars.com? And Filoni basically said, probably. Like, he said, I can't tell you for sure, so hopefully it will. I feel, now that they've screened it here, it would be odd for them
And
not.
with the last thing they put up, there's a kind of precedent about putting that stuff online
Right,
for free.
right.
But you also found out more last night at a separate panel,
Yeah,
right?
There was another panel completely with Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo from Lucasfilm talking about all these story arcs we could have gotten for Clone Wars, and it was kind of heartbreaking as a Clone Wars fan because they'd done so much, and they showed a ton of imagery, some of it early sketches, some of it much further along, and a few scenes, and I'm talking a Boba Fett, Cad Bane team-up story arc. We had one about Ahsoka Tano and where she was at after leaving the Jedi. There was just a lot of information given to us, and you realize they were very far along, and so that was definitely bittersweet because I'm excited, sure, about all this new stuff, but it's too bad we couldn't have gotten real closure on that.
So what I'm interested, like, obviously a few months ago we got a stripping back of what is considered Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
Clone Wars is still very much canon. But what about this stuff that never made it to the screen in a finalized form?
They're a little cagey on that, and especially because they are being so definitive now about what is and what isn't. It is notable because someone did ask Filoni, this story arc we just saw that you've now at least released at this convention, we think probably will go online, is this canon? He said, in my mind, it's canon. I'm guessing if they decide to put out something like this complete, it will be. But as far as all these uncompleted storylines, I mean, it's interesting. They are going to put out one. They already did the comic book, the Darth Maul one, but they're going to put out a book in a few months called Dark Disciple, and it's going to take this Asajj Ventress, Quinlan Voss storyline and turn it into a book, once again taking scripts from Clone Wars and adapting it. So that's going to become canon, right?
Yeah.
That'll definitely be.
I think they're using the books really smartly to like tie up a lot of these loose ends, set up other things now. We've got spin-off movies coming. I think they're going to use the books in an important way.
I think so too, you know, because look, the biggest question, of course, is how the show would have actually ended. And that was very interesting because he basically revealed, hey, it would have ended after Episode 3. We would have done episodes that were parallel to Episode 3, specifically about Ahsoka and Rex, the two characters people were like, where are they? And then we would have wrapped up afterwards. And that's the stuff where I think they're not going to release anything unfinished. I mean, we saw a couple clips, but I think they want to, you know, one day tell those stories. And so whether it be a book, a comic, or something animated, maybe, you know, we might get like one-off animated movies at some point, kind of like DC does. Maybe I think they know that story and they want to tell it in the proper form.
Yeah, and obviously Dave Filoni's still working closely with the Star Wars family, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Right, right. I mean, I think it's going to inform everything. Even on Rebels, he already has in his mind, this is what happened. So he's already telling stories that are kind of the ripple effect, and one day hopefully he gets to go back and show
Fantastic.
Show it all.
Well, hopefully we do get to see it one day in some sort of form.
Yeah.
But until then, for everything on Star Wars, stay right here on IGN.